Hey guys, this is Saucy J here at Keep It Simple TV, back with not another, but maybe another one of the Real Housewives franchise. This time I will be reviewing Real Housewives of New York. I feel like in my head, I feel like I've done this already, but I haven't. And it's horrible because New York was one of my favorite Real Housewives shows. It was up there, like my top three: New York, Atlanta, and Beverly Hills. And OC used to be there too, but I don't know, it just went too much of the Tamara show. I don't know. So I got out of watching OC, which is the original Real Housewives of Real Housewives of Orange County was, I think, the original Real Housewives show for Bravo. So, like you all, I have been watching Real Housewives of New York, or you haven't. But if you have, I've been just like you guys, watching the show, enjoying the show, and not taking any notes, or taking notes and not getting around to doing a review, because I've been enjoying the show. And I meant to start from the beginning because we have a new cast member, Ebony K. Williams. She's the first African-American female woman on the show. They did have someone before who was of Asian and Caucasian descent. I forget her name, and she only lasted a season, I think, maybe two. I thought she was good, but they didn't have her come back. I don't know why. That season was good too when she was on. So anyway, I've been watching them, enjoying the shows, and then going to sleep. So, and maybe not, but I just didn't get around to reviewing Real Housewives of New York. I think I'm coming in at the right time. I'm going to talk a little bit about episode 8, and maybe not, I don't know. But right now, we're on Real Housewives of New York, season 13, episode 9, the Salem bitch trials. So I'm not monetized yet, so I can say that. I can actually say the B word. And see, I had got this New York shirt. I was ready to go and just didn't do it. You guys, wait till you see my Real Housewives of Potomac t-shirt. It's so cute. I found it on Etsy. I think a lot of people are gonna like it. So I got it early, before the mad rush. So, okay. Like I said before, I want to start really, I don't know if I want to go blow by blow, with the recap, or more of a review, like just getting into the dynamics of the wives on the show. So let's start with Ebony. She is new. You know what? Go back. No. So we're down to 3 OGs. That's what we're going to start with. The old housewives, that in the case of Ramona, she's been here from, with the show from day one. I think Luann came on season 2, maybe season 3. And did Sonia come on at the same time as Luann? But anyway, these women actually knew each other prior to the show, especially Ramona and Sonia. They were friends prior to the show. And they all knew of each other. They all knew of Luann de Lesseps. She actually was married to a count. She was married to Count de Lesseps. He was French. His family was the French family that gave, New York and the United States the Statue of Liberty. That's how that was her. When before that she was a model and everything, but that's how she got into money. She married money. And all of these women, prior to Ebony, all these women, most of them have married into money. None of them were to the manor born. But, they showed us that life of ladies who actually lunch. They were those ladies that actually lunched, did the charity circuit, all that. And so they either earned their money or married into money. So it was very enjoyable to see that, to see how the other half lives, and kind of like, you know, with certain things, especially being a black female, when you see these shows, you kind of see what's really going on. So, supposedly, the execs at Bravo wanted to kind of bring in more young women to the show, because the people were getting kind of old. I mean, this show has been like 13 seasons, so these women are well into their 50s, probably more so in their 60s. I think Ramona is 65 or 66, and Sonia is probably close behind. Luann is still probably trying to hang on to 58 or something. But, you know, at the beginning of these shows, they were like in their 40s, early 50s. I think even Ramona threw a 50th birthday, I'm not sure, but she's in her 60s. And she looks good. She looks good for her age. She's maintained herself well. So they were trying to bring in some fresh blood, some new blood, younger women. You know, we had Tinsley last year, who brought on Leah. I think she's in her 30s, you know, either mid 30s, late 30s. And Ebony K. Williams, she's also in her 30s, but she didn't come on last year. So you had Tinsley, who was in her mid to late 40s, bring on Leah, and they were going to like be like the young women of the show, the younger women. But we all know that Tinsley left the show early last season, Tinsley Mortimer, because she thought she had bagged a billionaire, and we see now it hasn't worked out, and supposedly she's trying to get her old job back with Real Housewives of New York. I could have told her that guy was not for her. Come to find out, he was very allegedly abusive to her as well. He just strung her along for like maybe three or 4 years. I'm not really sure. But she met him on the show through another cast member's boyfriend, and she thought she had bagged herself a billionaire, but it didn't work out. So you have so that left Leah alone with all these OGs, and she was the baby of the group, and she was just throwing tantrums and stuff like that. I was not a fan of Leah. I thought Leah was kind of, I think she's brash. I think she just does too much. I know she wants to be, if you're a fan of Sex in the City, she wants to be Carrie Bradshaw, which is Sarah Jessica Parker's character. And she wants to be a mix of Sarah Jessica Parker and Bethany Frankel, who was a former cast member of this show. And she's falling short. She's not. Her fashions are horrible. Every now and then she might pull out something, but they're getting worse. Like, she has her own clothing line, and, you know, I don't know if anyone's interested, because what she's wearing on the show, it's like, girl, get a stylist. Stop. You're not Carrie Bradshaw. You're not Bethany Frankel. Just stop. You need a stylist. And so we see that Leah has brought on Ebony, and Ebony, I like Ebony. I've seen Ebony before, like on TV, like giving her, she's like a commentator. She is a lawyer by trade, and training, education wise. But she used to be on Fox News. She was always a guest commentator on Bill O'Reilly's show. He really liked Ebony. He kind of took Ebony, from what I observed on the outside, under his wing. He never treated her bad. And he was always smiling, and they were always kikiing. He really liked Ebony a lot. And I was like, how could she be on Fox News and on Bill O'Reilly's show, especially seeing how he has treated other black people over the years? I mean, he's really been downright nasty, vile, and cruel to black people, but yet she's sitting on the show smiling all in his face, laughing and everything. Yeah, so Ebony, you're not all what you're trying to play. So, and it's like, did you get the memo that this is a reality show? You're supposed to be having fun. So anyway, I don't want to really just go in on Ebony. I like her. I think she would have been more of a fit for Blood, Sweat, and Heels, which was another Bravo reality show that I really loved because I felt like I identified with it more because they had middle class, educated black women on that show. And then one of the girls, she couldn't handle it. And she allegedly hit another cast member. I can't remember her name now. I should know her name because I do watch her other show. She has her own podcast now. Melissa Ford, who came to fame as a video vixen. And then on the show, she was supposed to be selling real estate in New York. And the other girl, I can't remember her name, but she was accused of looking like Wesley Snipes. Oh my God, that was like one of the best scenes ever. And she allegedly attacked Melissa Ford with a champagne bottle, which ended the show. And that's the show I think Ebony K. Williams would have been a better fit on, and maybe we wouldn't get all this Black Lives Matter mess, which is fine. You know, I love the slogan. I don't know too much about the organization, but I, agree with what they purport their cause to be, which is, yes, Black lives do matter, and we need a lot of justice reform and stuff like that. So we knew when Ebony came on with that t-shirt with all of the police victims, I should say. She had a t-shirt of Trayvon, all the names: Trayvon, Michael, George, and it might have been, Brianna, and it might have been one more person's name that I left out. So when she came on the show with that t-shirt, we knew where she was headed, and it hasn't let up since. So I'm going to talk about episode 8 a little bit. So we see Ebony once again is getting into an entanglement with Ramona about race and politics and stuff like that. And because we've gone through the election. They had their election night. So before we get to that, let me go back to Ebony did a night in Harlem, which was really nice. I thought that was nice, and all the women were receptive and open and were excited about going to Harlem and having a fun time in Harlem. And it was supposed to be like a speakeasy because Ebony found that there's a place in New York, Harlem, where it's still the original speakeasy that was back during Prohibition time, where you had to knock on the door and say some special code or whatever to get in to have alcohol, because at one time in this country there was Prohibition where people couldn't drink alcohol. They had to find these speakeasies, these clubs, where they would illegally drink alcohol until they got, until the police come and, bust it all up. So she wanted to show the girls, like, hey, you guys live in New York, yet you probably never been to Harlem. And of course, in their solo interviews, Luana's like, no, I've been to Harlem. I eat at Sylvia's, and, even I've been to Sylvia's or seen Sylvia's in New York. And, and then, they all reminisce about, I think the only person that probably never been is Ramona. And are we shocked? No, like, what would she need to go to Harlem for? And Harlem is probably not the same in terms of all the jazz clubs and stuff, because when I went, outside of the Apollo, I don't know if there were any famous jazz clubs still left in that area. I'm not sure. And Harlem is like going through a gentrification, so I hear. So it's probably not the same as it was back in its heyday. But anyway, the ladies share. I think Sonia and Luann, have experienced Harlem, but whatever. They're all, and it's not racist per se, but a lot of people in New York pretty much stay within maybe a 2-5 block radius of where they live. So all the ladies live on the Upper East Side. That's where all the rich live, or they might live in Midtown, the business circle where I think Sonia was living. But even now, she's back in her townhouse, which is probably on the Upper East Side. So why do they need to go to Harlem? I don't know if they would enjoy a night at the Apollo. So they were open to going. They were all getting dressed up, ready to go, participating. Everybody shows up. The place was beautiful. Even Ramona was impressed. She was impressed by the setup and everything. And Ebony gives each lady a candle and a card that goes with the candle. The candle was supposed to be the spirit of them, and the person that she said kind of matched their spirit. Like in Luann's case, she gave her a candle and a card about not Ella Fitzgerald. Oh my God, I can't think of the lady's name right now. But anyway, Billie Holiday. God. Okay, yeah. So, and Luann was, touched. She was like, "Oh, thank you," because Luann is the cabaret star of the show. She started her own cabaret gig, and so she was impressed. So it was all doing good. Everybody's having fun, but Ebony being Ebony, she's on a mission to educate these people about racism. So she reads to them, each their card about why she gave them and who the person was. And it was like, that would have been a good time to let them read the card out loud so they could participate and engage. And instead they were being preached at. Now, me personally, I love history. It would not have bothered me, even if it was white people or Hispanic people or Asian people. I'm always open to learning new things, and I don't necessarily have to read it, or I could just accept that, okay, this is how this person is going to deliver it. But the other ladies, they already feel like they're being hit in the head with ebony and race. They're tired, they're run down. So anyway, Ramona had her new girlfriend come, which is the second black woman. Now we're getting two, whereas before we didn't have any black women. We're getting two black women, but her name is Bershan Shah, I believe. Yes, Bershan Shah. Ramona just picked up this black woman, and because they explained how they met, but really, and I'm sure Bershan Shah knew who Ramona is or was, so she was open, she was receptive to being Ramona's so-called friend, new black friend, because Ramona didn't have no black friends. Her world is very white, and that's fine, that it is what it is. So she brings Bershan with her. Bershan is vivacious, she's outgoing, and we're going to find out why in a minute, why she may be like that. So after Ebony gives this great presentation about each historical figure that they've been given a card for, that she claims matches their personality or where they're going in life, and a candle, which I would have loved, Bershan starts talking about all this all lives matter BS. And so I'm kind of like, whoa, Bershan, I don't know if I'm going to like you. I mean, I like your energy. I think you're a fit for the show because you're closer in age to these women, and you may have more in common with these women. Even though I think she's only like maybe 40 something or maybe early 50s, she's more in line with the OGs. And when she came out the box with that all lives matter, Ebony looked at her like, girl, really? Like, you really gonna go there? After I just talked all this black history stuff, and I'm trying to bring home this Black Lives Matter, mantra, you're gonna like undercut me with the all lives matter. So Bershan goes into, hey, I'm a cancer survivor. I was given 3 months to live. I'm just happy to be here. So, okay, that's nice and everything, but that's kind of like, why you want to do her like that? But it was the only suggestion I would have made for Ebony, and like some of the other ladies said, she should have had some music. I understand it's COVID. You probably couldn't have had a live jazz band, but you could have like had them play like jazz music in the background. That would have been nice. And then let the ladies interact more. Instead, they had to sit there while you read long essays about each person to each person as they just sat there like little kids. And then it's like, okay, well, when can we eat? Because I'm starving. So, yeah. And then after that, I think we see that Biden won the election, and so now we have our first female vice president, and but things are still tense because people are not happy with the results and all this other stuff. So once Ebony goes over to Ramona's house, and I'm sorry because I'm thinking about, I left out the fact that not only is Bershan is a cancer survivor, she's a breast cancer survivor, stage 4 cancer. They had only given her 3 months to live, and now she's 13 years post that diagnosis and treatment. So she's, like she said, she's just happy to be here. All lives matter. So what you talking about is nothing. But she's since walked that back. I think she did an interview with Wendy Williams since the show, and she has since, because people are like, whoa, wait a minute, what you talking about? You're getting off code. We understand you're happy to be on TV, but, don't forget the cost. So towards the end of the show, we see Ebony go over Ramona's house. They try to have a little talk out. Once again, Ebony's stuck on being just preaching to Ramona about Black Lives Matter, gender issues, all that stuff. And it's like, girl, just let it go. Let it go. Let this woman live. Like she said, I said before I was going to do this film, I was going to look up the famous saying that you shouldn't discuss politics and religion in polite company, because people have very deep feelings about it. And you claim you've been watching this show, you knew about these ladies, and it's like you know what Ramona is about. So we'll get to that in a minute. So anyway, Ebony goes over her house. They're enjoying each other's company. Then some kind of way they get on the election. The fact, that's what Ebony was at. Ebony was like, aren't you happy we got our first female vice president? Ramona, because we know Ramona voted for Trump twice. And I think she probably knows Trump. I know Sonia knows Donald Trump. She actually used to work for Donald Trump. Sonia did. So they know Donald Trump very well. At least Sonia does. So I wouldn't be surprised if Sonia voted for Donald Trump. If not the second time, the first time. I think she probably voted for Donald Trump. And that's fine. Just whoever you want to vote for, it's like he said, if you're rich enough, you can grab them by the vajayjay. So that's the cleaned up version. That's a pun on words. And that's no pun intended. So, Ramona couldn't even just be happy that we have a female vice president, which I think is a shame for America, especially a country that purports itself to be the home of, land of the free, home of the brave, that's spreading democracy to everyone. But yet there have been dictatorships. We got a Queen of England and they've had a female prime minister. I think they may have even had 2 female prime ministers in England. I know they've had the one. Germany, female prime minister. They've had female presidents in Africa. The female president of, I think, Sierra Leone at one time was a female. America is just getting a female vice president. You may not be happy with, who the vice president is, but that ceiling has finally been shattered. By now we should have a female president, but I can understand if people weren't happy with the selections, and that's where I'm going to leave it. So Ramona could not be happy. She's just not happy with the election results. She don't even want to talk about it. She don't want to get in that quicksand. And Ebony's like, no, you can talk about it. You're strong enough. It's like, stop it. Stop. She doesn't have to discuss it. This is why when you go to vote, you vote in a voting booth. You got the wings, you got this thing. In some cases, it's a curtain behind you. Your vote is private. She doesn't have to tell you who she voted for, and if she's happy that there's a woman or not. You know, she could just be so strong in her convictions that she really didn't want the Democrats in there and don't care, even if we got a female vice president. That just shows you how she is. So anyway, they hug it out, and we go into the next scene, which is season 13, episode 9, the Salem Bitch Trials. And they start off with Leah talking about, hey, let's do a girls trip. Let's go to Salem, Massachusetts to get away from this election madness. And, because they couldn't really go too far, because this is all being filmed through COVID during the pandemic. So she wants to do a latex and leather girls trip to Salem, Massachusetts. That's the home of the witch trials and all that stuff that happened in 1692, where they were, it was 3 young women that were accusing people of being witches. And come to find out, one of the participants was a black slave, or she might have been a free woman, but I think she was a black slave. Her name was Tituba. And I remember I found out about her when I went to Martha's Vineyard. I had picked up a book about her, and I'm like, man, we studied this in school, and they never pointed out that and if they did, maybe I didn't home in on it, but I think I would have remembered that a black woman was integral. She was even a black woman. She was a kid like the other ones. They were all like early teens, maybe at the most. She might have been 14. And these girls just started, spazzing out, to use a modern term, but and accusing people of being witches. And the residents believed, and they killed like people based on what these young ladies were talking about. And they didn't kill Tutuba. Nobody knows what really happened to her. They think she just went away, which I don't understand. And then now it's come out that she may have been Native American, but when I first found out about her, she was supposed to be of African descent. And she still had a lot of knowledge about spirits and stuff like that. So that's interesting. If you get a chance, look up Tituba. So everybody's excited, and Leah even extends an invite to Bershan, and Bershan meets with Ramona at the French Bistro, and they talk about Ebony's night in Harlem. And Bershan was Ramona then goes on to explain about how, she had to leave early due to her vertigo. And Bershan didn't care, because Ramona faked that. Oh, I got vertigo, so let me leave early. So Bershan asked her, well, how did you think it was, the night in Harlem party that Ebony threw? And then Ramona, being smart, said, no, how do you feel about it? Let me put it on you. Let me see which way you go. And you black woman not going to get me in trouble with no racism. And so Bershan said she felt she didn't know what to expect. This is her first time around these ladies, probably really her first time really around Ramona, if we're going to be honest. And she felt it was too educational. I guess she just wanted to have fun. And so Ramona was like, some kind of way they come to agree that it was kind of harsh, the delivery and stuff like that. And but they all are coming to the conclusion that Ebony is very teachy, very preachy. Now here's what I say: white people are always saying they want to be educated about our struggle, like they can't go Google it, so don't get upset when you get someone who will educate you. You can't complain, because you guys are always asking, well, educate me, tell me. So then you have somebody that's trying to educate you and trying to tell you about our history, which is truly American history. It's not African American history, it's American history. Slavery is American history. Slavery is what built this country. Jim Crow is American history. Jim Crow segregation is what built this country. The civil rights movement is what fashioned this country. Now everybody can say they have rights. Everybody has access to everything through the African American struggle. Everybody benefits. So that's how I feel about it. So Ebony, in one sense, yeah, keep hitting them in the head with it, but remember to have fun too. Let's get to the fun part. So Bershawn and Ramona agree that it was more so Ebony's delivery of the topic. It should have been more interactive. So then next we see Ebony takes Sonia to her dating advisor, which lives in Pennsylvania. And let's talk about that sharp coat that Ebony has. Ebony can pull out some fashions. The woman can dress. I do like the way she dresses. She's bringing it. So I do hope they do. I want to see her next year. I want to see her next season, and hopefully she'll get past this trying to preach to these women and understand that she's on a reality show and she's here to have fun. So, so we see that. I'm not really interested in that, but other than the fact that the dating advisor, she seemed very interesting. Her name is Devin, very attractive young black woman, and I think she does some other things. People have seen her on TV before, so maybe we'll see her again. So so we can skip that part because this is getting kind of long. So then on the way back, let's see. Oh, yeah. So on the way there, Sonia tries to warn Ebony that, she's coming off a little bit too preachy. It's obvious she has an agenda. So to me, that should have been warning bells to Ebony to ease up, because it's like, yeah, we know you have an agenda. And I think Ebony's too aware of the fact that she is on TV and she's using this platform to teach everybody, to teach all of us about race. So I don't know how that's going to work out for her. But it was supposedly the Bravo execs, they like Ebony, so it's a good chance she will be back. But a lot of the, like on the vlogs, on the gossip pages, people don't like her. So I'm sorry this is getting long. I meant to, because we're at 32 minutes. So I'm going to try to wrap this up. So, because we're getting to the good part. So Ebony tends to get along with Sonia, and they meet with Devin, the matchmaker, and she thinks she has someone in mind for Sonia. This is going to be interesting. It sounds like the guy is rich. She mentioned a firm that his daughter also works for the firm, so that's right up Sonia's alley. Now, Sonia is never going to get back to J.P. Morgan. Sonia married the bank. Sonia lost the bank 2 times. Allegedly, Sonia was cheating. She actually married J.P. Morgan. He was the J.P. Morgan. His great-grandfather founded the bank, and he's, another J.P. down the line. So she married into the family, had it all, had 5 nannies for 1 baby, houses in France, houses in America. But supposedly she was having too much fun, and allegedly she may have cheated on him. Anyway, they divorced. After, I think, the first season she came on, she was still married to him, but the divorce was in the works. And then she got swindled out of her settlement. She had got like a $27 million settlement from her ex-husband, I believe that's the amount, plus the townhouse, which is like 4 stories or whatever. It has its own elevator. It's a gray stone mansion in New York, in Manhattan. He let her have that. She might have had something else. And Sonia being Sonia, and I could see how it happened. She was talking to some people that, you know, they were talking about they needed money to do a film. She said she would give it to them, and then she tried to renege on it, and they sued her for it. And they pretty much, I believe they took a good chunk of that money. It was horrible what happened, and they never made the movie. So be careful. Same thing, and that's all alleged, you know, but she did lose her money based on the fact that she told some people she was going to give them, you know, probably like at a party, talking a bunch of crap. Oh yeah, I'll invest in your movie, blah blah blah. It was all verbal, and those people were able to sue her, and they won. So and they never made the movie. So she's been messed up ever since, because she lost a lot of money. She messed over a lot of money, and the ex-husband allegedly didn't want to give her any money outside of the child support agreement and taking care of her daughter. Like, her daughter probably wants for nothing, but she doesn't get anything other than what was agreed at the time of the divorce. So she's never going to get back to where she was. And this new guy probably will not have, I doubt, will not have the money that JP Morgan had. The Morgan family has. So, excuse me. So, Devin thinks she has somebody. So, they all get ready to go up to Salem, Massachusetts to do Leah's latex and leather. Excuse me. And Leah, wow, what is that? So much for my special effects. So Leah rented a tour bus, and it's a 4-hour drive to Salem, Massachusetts. And this tour bus is like what the entertainers use. It's a huge tour bus with bunk beds and a Wi-Fi. And so, yes, Leah did good. And they got food, drinks, perfect for a road trip, perfect. Ebony, being the sourpuss that she is, she says she's sleepy, she's gonna lay down. But luckily for her, Ramona and Leah also lay down. But it's like, girl, come on. You're on a, you know, it's like Leah don't care. I mean, it's like Ebony don't care. Like, look, I'm just here. I'm not really trying to participate on a reality show other than to beat people in the head about Black Lives Matter. And so Brashan comes on with her energetic self. Luann comes on, Sonia comes on, and Ramona comes on. And it turns out Ramona and Sonia are 20 once again. You know, they like to wear the same clothes without even telling each other. They usually dress the same. So all the other three of the women go and lay down and go to sleep. Brashan, Luann, and Sonia stay up, and they're ordering vibrators. So, you know, I guess once a hoe, always a hoe. So you can see right away, Brashan is fitting in. They love her. She wants to have fun. She's not hitting them in the head about race. She's very much a Black woman, and she's not apologetic about it, but she's in to have fun. So Luann started asking her questions about her life. So Brashan opens up and said, you know, she was married to a British banker. So they're like, oh. And, but, you know, 2 weeks before she was set to marry him, she got a diagnosis of breast cancer. And like we know, she survived it, and 13 years later, she's still here. And now she's on the Real Housewives of New York. So life is good for her. So she says that's why she's positive. She's like, you know, once they tell you you're gonna die in 3 months and you're still here, she's like, I'm staying positive every day, and that's good to have. So Leah wakes up, announces that they're gonna have dinner at a place where they're gonna get their fortunes told and get tattoos. Well, you know, the boomers of the crew, which is Ramona, Luann, and Sonia, and even Bershawn. Well, no, Bershawn was excited about getting a tattoo. They didn't want a tattoo. And all of the women there, except for Leah, don't have tattoos. Ebony thinking of getting a tattoo. Girl, please don't get a tattoo. It's like, to me, those are so overrated. I remember when I was a kid, I really wanted a tattoo, but it seems like everybody have them now. It's no, I don't know, but anyway, Ebony, if you want to get a tattoo, get a tattoo. Let's see. They arrived at the historic Hawthorne Hotel, which was built in 1925. It's named after Nathaniel Hawthorne, the author of the Scarlet Letter, and it's in the city. Now, the lady had made it seem like it was on the site of where they had the Salem witch trials, but she cleared it up and saying, well, it happened in Salem. Okay. But it's supposed to be a historic hotel, and it's supposed to be haunted. And they put Ramona in the most haunted room, which is 612. They also gave the ladies welcome kits that contain sage smudge sticks, so you can, get rid of evil spirits by lighting up a sage stick. And then they all meet up later for dinner at the tattoo restaurant, and it's a restaurant that has a tattoo parlor in it, or a tattoo parlor that has a restaurant in it, called the Black Veil. So they look like the girls were all ready to have fun. They're all dressed up. They have cute outfits. And it was so funny. Ebony, starts to twerk, and so Sonia's all happy, like, oh, she knows how to tweak. No, Sonia, it's twerk. You're really showing your age. And she's definitely a boomer. And Leah points this out and has a good laugh. So, Ebony wants to have fun, but I don't know if she can have fun with these girls. She could if she just let go of the racism stuff. And so they're all on the bus to go to the restaurant. No, they're at the restaurant. And Sonia is stirring the pot because when the ladies ask her about her trip to Philadelphia with Ebony to meet the matchmaker, Sonia brings up about how she actually had fun with Ebony and she wasn't on all that BL, Black Lives Matter stuff. She's really a fun girl, blah, blah, blah. She doesn't talk about her meeting with the matchmaker and what the matchmaker said she has lined up for her. She brings it back to Ebony, and Ebony being Ebony, she just couldn't let it go. She just could not let them on their first night there just have a fun night. She brings up, the whole racism thing and about how she feels like her and Ramona are going to get close. They're going to get beyond this, and that, she just don't want to be around people that are aligned with white supremacy and all this other crap. It's too much. And I'm really ready to end this recap. So then that, of course, when you bring up white supremacy, that's going to put everybody on their guard. It's like, wait a minute, what? Just because if somebody vote for Trump, we got to be a white supremacist? And then she's like, no, just because you vote for Trump, you're not a white supremacist. So Leah, brings up the fact that, well, you said, to Ebony, you said you would vote for Trump. And she's like, oh, no, I didn't. That's Ebony. And she was saying, no, I said my mother voted for Trump and blah, blah, blah. Ebony, for some reason, you were on Fox TV for a reason. And not only were you on Fox News TV, you were on Bill O'Reilly's show, where I've seen him be so disrespectful to not just black men, but black women too. And for whatever reason, he took a liking to you. And if your mother voted for Donald Trump, I'm thinking she might be a Republican, and maybe that's why they were so open and welcoming to you on Fox News. And that might explain why you were treated well by Bill O'Reilly. So, girl, it's not, I don't know, but she's, the thing I will agree with Ebony, either, well, maybe not, because that might be, She said, you know, either you be anti-racist or racist. And I think you have to throw in there some prejudiceness, right? Because some people, we all have, you know, prejudices or bigotry. You know, you might not like somebody because they're tall or short or fat or they don't wear the right clothes. But it becomes racism when you act on it. You know, when you deny a person, well, oh, I don't want this person to come into the party because they don't have the right look, you know. But anyway, she's just trying to, she really is going after Ramona because she knows Ramona probably voted for Trump. I say they all probably voted for Trump, even including her. But does that matter? And then on top of the fact, the main point I want to make here and just wrap all this up is Ramona doesn't have to tell you who she voted for, who she likes. It's none of your business. And so what? You knew these ladies. I think you just, you know, the main point I want to make here is coming back is that these women are not going to admit on this show that they're racist, that they like Trump. They're not going to mess up this bag. They might have messed up the other bags in her life because Luann lost the count, you know, right after she came on the show. She lost the count to an Ethiopian princess. Sonia lost the bank. She couldn't keep her legs closed, allegedly. Ramona lost her husband to a younger woman. These women are not going to mess up this their time on this show. They're not going to have this kumbaya thing with you about race because they don't want to touch it. It's like touching the third rail. So Ebony, stop it. You're not, you know, I'm the type of person where, yeah, if somebody does something racist, I'm going to check them, like in a nice way. We're going to, you know, I'm going to make my point, throw some levity in there and keep it moving. You're just beating Ramona in the head for no reason other than you want to just say, admit it, you're a racist, or, you know, you like Trump. She doesn't have to do that. And I think, I wonder why you came on the show, because you're not looking good at this point. I really don't care, but I'm just reading all the comments from everybody, and people are really not liking you, even though Bravo is saying people like you. But I do think they like, what did they call it, polarizing people, like they like Kenya. You know, even though they don't like Kenya, but they're always going to keep Kenya on the Real Housewives of Atlanta because so many people tune in just to hate on Kenya Moore. Now, I like Kenya Moore, but, you know, because I like intelligent, well-spoken black women. And that's why I'm still pulling for Ebony. But I just want to say it's kind of, you know, it's just like, I just see it for you, like, why do you want to keep doing this? It's like you're taking the fun away from the show. It's like, yeah, hit them in the head with it, but then let's go have fun. So if you can find that medium, then yeah, I think you should stay and come back for another season. I still want you to come back for another season because I think, you know, the shows that had to film during the pandemic, I think all the women should get like a do-over. That's just me. So anyway, I'm just going to cut out the rest because this review went too long, but at least it gets me back on track for the Real Housewives of New York, and I'm going to continue to review them and also do the reunion. So thank you guys for watching. If you made it this long, 48 minutes, oh my God. Thank you so much for watching. If you could hit the like button, that would be great. If you could make sure you're subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Also hit the notification button so you'll be notified of all of my content. And thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.